Hey guys, welcome back to Santa Family.
We are going to do a project. It's called a Steam Engine Express.
Since we're in quarantine, we went into the garage and we found this. We got this at a yard sale a very long time ago, and we haven't got the time to do this. So we decided that today we would be able to do this since we have nothing else to do. So my dad's going to explain how this all works. Take it away, Dad.
So this is the Steam Engine Express, and what this is going to do is it's a little flame down here. As you see the pictures, unfortunately all the instructions came in Japanese, so it was hard to read, so we had to go by the pictures. Not that I didn't tell somebody that I could read Japanese, and somebody was gullible enough to still believe that. Anyway, back to the project. What we're going to do is we're going to light the fire, and what this is a little canister down here, and it's got rubbing alcohol inside of it. It's got a little rag. We'll start the rubbing alcohol on fire. It's going to boil the water in this chamber, push out the steam into this motor. These pistons will start to go up and down and cause the wheels here to turn. That will turn the engine on this little motor, and it should, if everything works correctly, turn the light on at the bottom.
Okay,
so
let's try
we're going to start. We've already put some water in here, but I'll show you how it's done. You take the little pipette, put it in the end here, squeeze the water, squeeze all the water into the little steam tank, and then once you're done, we've already done a few of those beforehand, so we're ready to go. We take this little cork and we plug the end of this so that the steam doesn't just come out the end where we fed the water in. So once we get this on right, we're gonna push it in tight, and
we're gonna light.
Please don't try this without your parents, kids. We're going to light
must have
the
parent
flame.
Supervision.
It's going to produce the steam. We got to wait for the water to boil in order for this to work. So as the flame is hitting the bottom of that can and boiling the water in the can, in a few minutes it should boil up enough to produce steam. That's when all the magic happens. Once the steam starts coming out, we should get some steam coming up those pipes. It's still cold, starting to get warm, the tank. Take a little bit for the steam to build.
So let's explain this. So what you're saying is that when this bubbles up, steam's gonna come into these two tubes and then separate into these two.
Yes, exactly. So if you've ever boiled eggs on the stove, you know that as the water gets boiling, steam starts to evaporate off the top of the pan. That's what we're hoping to cause. We're causing the water to boil in this pan, and it's got nowhere to go out but through these two little holes. And so hopefully in a few minutes, hope it doesn't take too long, it should build that steam and cause that engine to start to turn. So as this wheel turns, it should crank the engine. If we installed everything correctly, it should turn this motor on. So we're just waiting right now. We're kind of watching water boil.
Oh, that's hot.
Yes, be careful. Don't touch it with your fingers. It is hot. There is fire underneath. So,
don't touch it.
Of course, Dwayne had to come. I can hear it bubbling. I can hear it bubbling in there.
You can hear it coming out.
Had to give it a little push, and as you see, the light's going. I'll turn the engine. You can see the engine. These are the little pistons going in and out with the steam that is running out of the tank and out those hoses into that engine. And you see out here that looks like smoke. That's really just the steam, the water evaporating and coming out in steam.
Also,
and
you
it's
can
moving
see that
so fast that it's caused the light to turn on.
Also, after a while, it starts smelling smoky. And you actually can see the smoke coming up from the air.
That's not smoke. This is steam.
Steam.
This is the steam coming out of inside this tank. And so it looks like it's throwing out smoke if you look at the back. But as the steam water comes out, it pushes those pistons one at a time, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And you can see all the steam. But what that has done is then created electricity. The old trains used to work on steam. The old steam engines used to run locomotives. They would feed the fire in the front of the steam engine, and the train would run just off steam. It would start pumping, and the hotter they got the fire, the more steam it produced, the faster that train could go.
Wait, so you're saying that, like, back then they used to use these to run trains?
Similar to this. It was this idea, but in a huge, huge train. And so they would make the train, and they would make this big steam engine in the front. And that's why the conductors always had, or not the conductor, but the guys right behind him always had a bunch of coal and firewood on the train. And they would feed the fire. And as long as they were feeding the fire, they would build that pressure in their water tank, and it would cause the steam engine to run. So now they run on electricity. You got diesel engines, you got gas engines. But back in the day, they ran on steam. And if you look at the bottom here, it's all wet, where all the steam is evaporated out of this tank. Once the steam runs out and there's no more water, then it will turn off. The engine will shut off. The tank will just keep burning out till it runs out of fuel. But we'll shut the fuel off before that. Because we don't want the tank to burn or anything else to burn.
You can see that this is getting slower.
So I'm going to try and blow that engine off. And you saw as soon as the fire went out, the steam stopped. And so if you remember the old locomotives, if you ever seen the movies where the train would drive in underneath the big chute, and the chute would come down and fill water, they were filling that steam engine back up with water. And then they would light the fire, steam would build, and off goes the engine.
So this is how, like, engines worked similar to this
There
back
it
in
is.
the day?
Back on. I'm going to turn it this way. We'll shut it off really quick. I'm going to turn it on so you can watch. So what's going to happen is you'll see these little arms. There's a little piston is what it's called. And it's going to go in and out. And as it goes in and out, it's pushing out. The steam is pushing those pistons in, out, in, out. It turns this wheel every time it does. That big red wheel turns the little white wheel, which turns the engine inside here. So I'm going to show you again. We're going to start it. Now that the tank is filled with pressure, it won't take us long to get it to boil. All it takes is that flame to start again. So, here we go. 1, 2. Give it a second. You hear it already steaming. The engine gets stuck sometimes. You got to build pressure. We'll just give it a little knock. Get it to go.
Sometimes you need to just push it because if you don't...
Because I moved it by my hand, it got a little stuck, so should go easier if we stop it.
Let's do
Don't
it like
touch.
this so they can see when the light bulb turns
And-
on and off.
So you watch me get rid of the flame a little. It stops the steam. So, get the steam pumping through. The minute it does, the engine runs. Light turns on. If I blow at the fire, weakens the flame, the engine slows down. Less steam, less pressure. Right, less flame. There we go. Sometimes you gotta move it just a little, get it started. Once they're flowing really well and pumping in and out, produces that electricity off and on. So if your engine got fast enough and rode hard enough and you had a big enough steam engine, that light wouldn't flicker. We just power on. So, hope you liked our steam engine. It was kind of interesting setting up because again we had no instructions in English, so we had to kind of just look at the pictures, and I did have to remove screws and put them back in different spots because we got it wrong. But
Comment down below if you liked this video.
we're going to turn it off. That sound was the pan popping because we're running out of water. So again, if you want to run it some more, what we need is more water. Take our little pipette. We will fill it up with water. Put it in the fill end. Hold on, baby.
I know.
So I'm going to just put in a few of these this time because we burnt them all out. So the more the water's in there, the longer it can run. But the longer it takes to steam it as well because it's got to heat all that water.
I got
in.
one
Yes, baby.
question.
Yes.
So, you know,
Evelyn first.
Can I blow it at the...
Yes, this next time you can blow it out like a birthday candle.
Dad, so you know when you light the thing, the paper or the thing that you're using here is a paper towel is supposed to turn black when you light it.
It doesn't, because this is alcohol fuel. So what we're really burning out is just the alcohol. As it burns, the paper's not even burnt at all because it hasn't run out. It stays wet, so it just keeps sucking up. What the paper towel is doing is it's acting like a wick. What a wick is it soaks up the water or the liquid into the rag. So the old gas lamps back in the day, when my mom was little, they would do their homework by a kerosene light. I remember we used to have a kerosene light whenever the lights went out and the electricity went out. You could turn on the kerosene lamp, and it has a little cloth wick in there. And though the wick runs all the way into this gas, and you always wonder, why doesn't it just blow up the tank? Because all it's doing is it's sucking out a little bit of the fuel at a time. As the fuel runs out, it starts to burn the rag. As the rag burns, then you have to switch out the bag. But for right now, we got a full tank of alcohol in there, and so the alcohol is going to burn. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up burning out just the alcohol. The paper towel looks like it's still good. And so here we go. Let's try again. We're going to start
May I
it.
do the honors of lighting it?
Yes, you may. We're going to start it. We're going to leave the little cap off, and we're going to see that the steam comes out over here.
Oh,
There's no button. Just pick it.
There's no button?
So, here we go. One more last time before we call this video off. Okay? We're going to watch and see. Without the cap, the steam's going to want to come out right through here as soon as it starts building. So, again, we just added a bunch of cold water. So, we're going to have to wait for the water to boil before it will start up again. And it took a little while the last time. I can see the little bubble of water come into the end here, and there it goes, starting to trickle out. So it's starting to push the water out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this cap and we're going to stick it in there and cover it up so it forces the steam out the other tube now. And here it goes. Let's see how long it takes to produce enough steam, because it's got to come out with enough pressure to turn that engine on. I can hear it steaming, but it hasn't turned on yet. No, I'm giving it a...
Not yet.
There it goes, there it goes. Starting to build up. You can hear it bubbling in the pot right now in the steam tank. Oh, I see bubbles coming out. Bubbles coming out. There it goes. Get in
Steam
there.
coming from out from there.
Steam will come out all at once until it turns this motor. It won't produce electricity. So, fun little project that we did here at home. Took about 30 minutes. Probably would have been a little quicker than that if I had put them on the right way. Screws didn't say which ones went where. They just showed us, and some are longer than others, so it took me a minute. I put it all together, had to pull it apart. As I got to the next one, they were the wrong screws in the wrong spot. But
This took a
we're
long
going
time.
to let Evelyn blow it out and see what
She
happens.
said I could blow it out with her.
Ready?
Ready?
Girls, 1, 2, 3, blow. It didn't turn off, but it lowered it down enough to stop the steam. One more time. So we call it good. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, what do we do, girls?
You guys comment down below if you like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a huge thumbs up. Bye.
Science.
Bye.